in power in this city. So they can't come here and say, in these 5 years, of which in between that 5 years, there was also instability and all of that. And they're coming here and saying, this, that. We can't do that. Because more like 20 years, you've never fixed it. Infrastructure is getting dilapidated. Come on. It's really disingenuous of them. And now they're coming back to our society and say, give us another chance. How many chances? 27 chances? No. We cannot be doing that. If we are going to be honest to our people, we should tell them we failed you. Please take us out. Because there's nothing else we can offer. Let's give others a chance. If I don't know so that you nonsense so excuse my language. But I talk like we failed, and we must respect the citizens so much to tell them we failed, we don't want anything to do this thing because we don't know how to do it, and give it to the people who can do it. So we just can't do that. And I wanted to respond to that as well. The office of the mayor, the office of the deputy executive mayor, their doors are open. I don't want to say we did not do that, pointing fingers. As Nicholas has said, he's going to give you his number, my number. We are going to make sure that they listen to the given audience and they assist you. That's what we've been doing for the past 9 to 10 months. We've been in this coalition. We've been assisting our people. We've been on the ground. Sports facilities are being refurbished, and so on and so forth. So in this 9 months, at least there's something that this government has shown, we can do this thing. The only thing that needs to be done, give us another chance. Instead of taking Umbusu's Wasima who built a wall and they made it, Baptist Stadiums, 15 million. What is that? And Umbusu Wamasela also sat down. Get out of this abusive relationship with the ANC. Let's get out. This is another form of gender-based violence.
Thank you again, Ram. I was hoping this conversation would not deteriorate into a blame game, because in actual fact, all three of these parties can be blamed for something. But to go back to the issues that have been raised by the members of the community, and most close to my heart is what Tusisi said about us being a violent society. We can't take that lightly. We must, as individuals first, put our best foot forward to bring a solution to that. And that solution starts with yourself and those around you, particularly the men in our society. We speak very well when we are in public, and we speak against violence of any nature, but in particular gender-based violence. But then we are the very same people who harbor the perpetrators of that violence. So as a start, each individual has to publicly denounce violence and live in that nature. So if I know my friend is a perpetuator of this, I must distance myself. It must be taboo to be violent. There's no government who can bring us a solution to the violence. Because really, what can a policy do to change a person's mind, to change a person's being? But it has to be the society itself that rebukes the violence. I become emotional when it comes to the issue of violence, particularly a lot of gender, but I don't want to lose my cool right now. I want to go back to the sports in Kulwawa. But the reason why the DOP has had all these programs, I wish I had the time to list this on and I don't, is because we are trying to make an example of what kind of leadership we will be once we are inside City Council. And as a result, towards the election day, we are planning a sports extravaganza where there will be five-a-side soccer, netball, fun run, rugby, and so in boxing. Very informal, but just to make that promise, that tangible promise to the sporting fraternity that we are alive to your plight and we are putting together solutions. Thank you very much. All right.
I just want to touch a little bit, gender violence. We have a very violent history, because of apartheid and so on, and that's the language. I'm not justifying violence, ne? So our language is to toy before we even sit down and talk to each other. Now, that's because we do not have spaces like this one, where we can sit down and have, an honest conversation with each other that, man, I don't like what you're doing. We don't have those spaces in our communities, in our streets. We no longer have, open spaces whereby we can call each other and address issues that affect us. That's why I'm very grateful for the space that for this space that I have right now. I think we need to open up more of these spaces, from our communities or our wards, and have these conversations like maybe on a monthly basis, but ongoing. Not the elections only. But what we are doing, as good, we are about we want to fix South Africa. One of our hashtags is fix South Africa. We have just launched a dedicated team of plumbers that is servicing the whole metro. If you have a blocked sewage system, we are here, and also we want to repurpose the buildings that we currently have, and as and use them for something else that will be beneficial to our communities. So that's but one of the points that we have in our plan as the metro. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I think I wanted to hear what I thought Sia and what I thought Unati. And then I'm just going to conclude for us again in the same manner, sitting what is coming out, what can we rally behind as a collective, because it doesn't matter who's in power, my situation doesn't change, the lady's situation doesn't change, unless something is done in that regard. Do you want to say something, sir?
Thanks, Mr. Otoba, and good morning to everyone. I think I don't want to run the risk of repeating what many people have already said, but and I think also the conversation is healthy enough, and the conversation is honest enough for us to reflect on. Some of the issues that bug me, but you put it that way, is the fact that at times we speak about crime as if we are getting robbed or theft is happening from cats and dogs and animals. It is ordinarily happening from young people who are in conflict with the law. And at times we forget that. We forget the actual program of bringing them back into society. And I think it's something that we really need to focus on also. I say this because even as an agency in the NYDA, we pay visits to these young people. Just a quick example of some of the talent that lies in our prisons. I was once making a presentation in one of our prisons here, about a 2-hour presentation where the dialogue with them. In that 2 hours, a young person actually drafted a business plan from start to scratch, right when I was sitting there. The very young people bearing each other in that prison. They've got carpentry skills, etc., etc. But when they come out, we reject them. We tell them they can't get jobs. We tell them that we will go through the ITC, they got a criminal check, so we can't fund them. So there are quite a number of issues, and I feel that commuting with the law is something that we really need to look into. Thanks.
Thank you, Ola. Good day to everyone. I think mine is more on what Sia was saying, but I concur with most of the speakers that are sitting in the panel today. And hopefully what Okaska was saying with regards to this conversation that we are having today, not only being about the coming elections, but also even after the elections, calling all these political parties, especially those that would have been elected into power, to come and have a similar conversation now in a broader, setup with all the citizens, of this city, so that we are able now to affirm a direction that would lead us to being that smart, bright, crime-free city that we would like to see.
But going into the issue of, you know, the marine, maritime, oceans economy, blue economy space, this city is one of the few around the world that is blessed and positioned very well with two commercial ports. We've got the Port of Muga and the Port of PE. And up until we are serious about the maritime opportunities that can be able to grow, you know, the economy of the city and the province, it is only then that we would see real change. Yes, it's true what my brother was saying with regards to Operation Pakisa. Operation Pakisa was launched, and there isn't much that has been done in, you know, with regards to that. We are currently right now busy with a master plan, you know, trying to fast track and for all the things that were not done, you know, previously. As we need to understand, the majority of the things that have been done within the Operation Pakisa, those were the things, the actual responsibilities of all these institutions, all these things that we, you know, have been claimed to, they have been done through Operation Pakisa, are things that were supposed to have been done. So they were not new projects that are supposed to grow the economy. But now we have an opportunity. And as this city, we need to look at, we must just not talk about and grandstand about the moving of Transnet, the headquarters coming to the city. We need to understand as to say, what does that exchange do for a layman or a Stratwin, you know, a Warmer, a New Brighton? What opportunities are going to be derived from that? And if there is none, then we can't celebrate that. But I can just tell you now, the city is currently working on a strategy with regards to maritime economy, and we are hoping that we can be able then to build more, you know, with regards to that with all the relevant players, because through maritime, the manufacturing sector, the tourism sector would also be able to strive if that one sector is at least given all the capacity that it needs and support. Thank you.
Thank you, Alam. So I think just 4 points that have come up in broad terms, I'm grouping them. One, local state capacity building. Everybody has spoken about why the state is not working and needs to have its capacity boosted, whether it's in policing or in engineering or whatever the case may be. There's been a very strong emphasis there. Also, visionary leadership, you know, people who've got a vision, and I'm happy that parties have actually contributed to thinking about what kind of city they intend to create based on what they've said. I don't want to repeat what they said. And then effective community involvement. I'm excited about this point because it underscores the humility of the leaders about the limitedness of what they can do. And therefore, they need to actually, even to this concept of service delivery, there are people sitting somewhere waiting for something to be delivered to them. So it problematizes that, the recognition that you won't have safer communities unless communities themselves play a role. But I think it was mentioned that you need to guard against the privatization of securities of neighborhoods to the extent that you create vigilantism. The last one, I am imposing on the issues that I am mentioning. It was apparent it's an enabling political environment. People have spoken about variations of it, but its core, as a political scientist, will recognize the primacy of politics on many things. So, for example, parties must realize that it's their responsibility to close the gap of crooks managing their systems to become representatives of the people in councils. We mustn't face problems of people who are leveraging the power of the party in order for them to extract rents from the municipality. But also, an enabling political environment means voters, and I'm happy that many of you made this cause, voters who vote correctly, apply themselves, and are able to punish and reward those that do not work. So those are the four broad things: local state capacity building, visionary leadership, effective community involvement, and enabling political environment.
Before you're done, how do we look from the outside on the political front going to the elections? If you're sitting in Gauteng, in Cape Town, how do we look? What is happening politically, locally? Who is running? How do we look?
Yeah, so currently Nelson Mandela Bay appears as one big mess from a political perspective. One, the parties, there's been a lot of mind sliding, but I'm happy that we have, at least as far as those in councils, we've learned the skills, no matter how basic, of managing coalitions. What I'm happy about is that the voters here are not going to go back to the dominant party system. That, you must forget, I know you were calling for it. It's nice because it's a simpler way, right? Decision making is simpler. However, we've seen the worst of it. Dominant party system is a chaos. So the voter, as far as voters are concerned, they're doing the necessary corrective action. But the onus is on the parties that are emerging to learn how to campaign, such that when you are now in a coalition with the party that you are trashing, we are not saying, hey, but you are trashing this party. Because we've gotten to a stage where the practicalities of governance are going to force these coalitions. So I wish that the parties are going to grow and recognize that you need a workable political environment that supports whoever is in government. I mean, I know, by the way, the DA and the ANC have complained about this thing of walkout, staging walkout so that the budget is not approved. This is something both of them did. My hope is that going forward, it becomes less as a political tactic, because it's just, it worked at some stage because it was inconsequential, really, somebody walks out. But now when you walk out in a council meeting, the next, in a month's time, so budget has to be approved by the 31st of May, for example, so that come 1st of July, a municipality can implement. If you do that, you are frustrating processes. So, but it also means that there must be, the people who are going to go into councils must be skilled in managing complex political relationships. Thank you.
So we've heard what the vision, according from our side, should be for Nelson Mandela Bay, where we are going to. We've heard about the kind of leadership that we need from our side, but from your side, maybe considering what Sia and Unati and other stakeholders in the city, where are we going and what kind of leadership do we need? And sorry, how do we get that?
Sure, the first thing we must get rid of is the messianic leader mentality. That there's a leader who's coming and they have a messianic feel to them, they're going to resolve all of our problems. I'm increasingly sold to collaborative approaches. Approaches that recognize, one, the strengths that we have, but with great humility, the limitations that each of the players have. So, for example, municipalities are good because citizens vote to get them, to get those who decide a bunge to be in power, right? So, by virtue of the democratic nature of how they come about, they're good as representatives in general. But perhaps in leveraging working cities from an economic point of view and transformative cities which are inclusive, you can't just have a municipality be the main player in that space. You need business to come on board, you need NGOs to come on board, and they must be affirmed. And politicians must stop this thing of thinking we are the ultimate representatives of the people and we have monopoly of wisdom and representation. They need to recognize that they must create an enabling space for everybody to play a role. So what collaborative relationships are formed at the level of the ward to make sure that the ward works. And those will take not just the councillor, it will take the NGOs that are here, the councillor that is here, the businesses that are operating here. We've got to stop this thing in South Africa of an extractive mentality. Businesses are here, they extract profits and they don't care. Yes, indeed, businesses exist to make profit, they must make profit. But if there's no due care about the well-being of where we are and where we stay, things are not going to work. And lastly, let me pull from where I come from. I'm very happy about rural, and by the way, we look very arrogantly at rural as backward. Where I come from, and this is not many moons ago, this was like in the 90s when I became conscious and aware of what's happening in the community. Boys were taught by the necessities of living in a rural area that nature has provided value for you that you can extract, consume, and distribute and share with others. So the idea of going to Eswatini or Kisping or Ingwenye and you are using your energy, and when you come back with a sack full of Ingwenye or wild berries, you distribute to Damkol and everybody else. And then the system, the entire village worked in that way, that unemployed didn't mean hungry and struggling, because it was a working economy where people have found ways to bring water, to bring wood and all of those things. The reason why I say this, full employment for where we are, at least in the next 20, 30 years, is a fallacy. So we need communities that think about how people plug in and resolve problems. And what I've seen is that entrepreneurship comes from you resolving your own problems and the problems of your family, and then the spin-offs of that are you are touching and impacting the community in a positive way. I don't want to make it long, but key issue is collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the input. Thank you to the panel for attending and honoring our invitation. We truly would wish to have more of these conversations, as diverse as you would have them. Maybe we might need to break them down somehow, but we'll find ways. However, we'll depend on your support as well in order to actually make a success of these things. As Friends of Democracy, we have tried in the past 6 years, trying to build something from just seeing the need. There was no real roadmap, but the fact that we just couldn't sit and do nothing. We just wanted to start moving pieces so that we create this enabling environment, especially for those that are trying to do something. So you'll see 2 of our sort of publications, just not to lose all the information that we are collecting. A similar one for this process and the awards that we'll be doing later on in the year will also be developed. So do take pictures with Lihle so that we all look good. We will take from the pictures and use for the publication again. Right now we will have tea and a bit of a snack so that our high blood is managed and sugar levels. Sisset wants to say something. She just reminded me that we were expecting the deputy mayor to come, but he had apologized, and we already have representation from his organization. That is fine. The only thing that will happen after tea, it's really about leaving your comment. Sometimes we're not going to put a mic on you, but when you write something down and leave it for us, we are able to get transcribers and put it there. I know most of ideas have been answered even online. We had about 14 people filling the questionnaire online. You can still find the questionnaire online and fill it in so that you don't have to write here. But we truly appreciate everyone's input where possible. Or you can ask someone to just help you. If they're wearing black hat t-shirt, they will be able to try to help you write down whatever you want to say that could not be said. So Tatenda, Bella, I see who else is, who's there? Or NMZ, yes. So thank you very much. We can now have time to have tea, talk to each other. We want those pictures of you talking to each other. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
And for social media purposes, please just hashtag NNB Community Indaba.
Thank you.